life often feels like a juggling act. You're navigating the complexities of career, building a business, relationships, family, the economy, politics, all the things. And for many entrepreneurial spirits, one of the biggest questions that we face is whether to prioritize financial stability or follow our passions, with plural, right? We often have multiple passions. The choice that we put in the title, your money or your passion, is a dilemma that resonates with many, including myself. And finding the right, I hate to say balance, finding the right mix is key to, I think, a fulfilling and successful life. So in true wealth wisdom fashion, I wanted to bring some historical perspective on what finding your mix of money and passion could look like. Hi, and welcome to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast. We believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you want to go, you need wealth wisdom. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much for being here. Give us a like on this video and comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Now, a little bit of background. I would consider myself a pretty multi-passionate person. I actually went to a liberal arts school because I was like, I don't have one passion. I can't choose a major right away and only learn one thing. I was thinking what do I want out of college? It was to be able to talk to anyone I met about something they were passionate about. And what I've learned is that can actually be a passion to, connect with people and build relationships and talk with them about things that they care about and give them a boost on what they care about. Who knew, right? And along the way, we started a business. I've been very entrepreneurial in that. And we learned that it wasn't just about passion. It was about financial stability being pretty crucial as well. And I'm going to come back to that. A little bit more of our story, but I want to start here with almost like the conclusion at the beginning, but then I want to talk about how and why and some deeper things. My conclusion is that while financial stability is crucial, it doesn't mean abandoning your passions. You can find this combination of stewardship and entrepreneurial spirit and pursuit. You can create a fulfilling and prosperous life, right? Prosperous and fulfilling together that aligns with both your financial goals and your deepest passions. Remember, it's not always about choosing one over the other. Sometimes it's about finding the sweet spot where your money and your passion can coexist harmoniously. How do you do that? What does that look like? That's what we're going to dig into today. So for some inspiration, and because we are the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast, I was thinking there's so many historical and contemporaneous figures who could inspire you depending on your passion. And I was trying to think of what's one that might apply to a lot of people? Couldn't think of one because there's so many of them for one. And then also your passion, somebody has pursued that in the past and they've made money and had a prosperous life while pursuing that passion, even if it's not easy to find, you can probably find somebody. So I instead found an example for me. So one of my passions is writing. I love writing as a child. I wrote a lot. I even got some awards for some writing I did. We published our first book. This one, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm trying to point to it. There we go. 5 Smooth Stones. We published it last year. I incorporate my passion for writing into our business a lot, not just with that book, but with writing these shows and writing emails and all the things I get to create that aren't just businessy, but have more of a creative writing lens to them. Now, if I wanted to make it big as a writer, there are plenty of writers that I could model. For me, an activist like Maya Angelou would be a great inspiration. As I learn more and more about how she wrote, how she made money writing, I get more and more inspired. And some of actually what I'm going to share later in the episode comes from people like her and and from her for how she was able to, make a ton of money. I think she died with something like $10 million and still be a creative person and write what she wanted to write and all those things. So Just don't forget, like, we're multi-passionate. Like, another great passion for me is, that with people, working on one-on-one with them, hearing what they're passionate about, helping give them a boost on their journey, whether it's financially, professionally, or otherwise. And continuing those kinds of passions are going to be my life work and my legacy. And I make money from those. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So that's kind of my personal side to things. You might already be wondering, hey, Brandon's not here. Where is Brandon? Well, Brandon's one of his big passions is family, and he is spending some time with some family that doesn't live close by, that is kind of close by, and he gets an opportunity to connect with them. So here I am. And this is, we're both really passionate about passion and things, but he was like, Amanda, you just go ahead and record the episode rather than wait and maybe be late in airing it. So here we go. So what I came up with is 5 principles about combining passion and profit. Yes, I love alliteration. 5 principles for combining passion and profit, and they're all P's. So 5 P's principles for combining passion and profit. The first one is prioritizing. Now, while financial security is undoubtedly important, a lot of times what happens is people lose the passion side because the pursuit of money overshadows their passion. And what started out as something really important to them, something they loved doing, becomes way too businessy, or they lose the heart and soul of it, and it's just about making money. So always keep this prioritization of finding a mix of the two. As much as we can do that, the better I think we'll be able to live a prosperous, fulfilling life. I remember, this is going to date me a little bit. Back in the 90s, this movie came out, I think it was in the 90s, Hope Floats, and I think it was Sandra Bullock was in it, but there was like her love interest in the movie. She finds out at the end, spoiler alert, that he's this amazing architect, but he just was like, I think, a handyman walking around the town doing handy projects. And she finally sees the home he built for himself. It's this beautiful structure that he made. And she's like, you should be doing this, like, and making money from this. I'll never forget this formative moment in my childhood. This movie. And he says, well, but if I did this for a living, I might lose my passion. And as I've grown and pursued having a passion and making money and not letting the money side overshadow my passion, I do think it's possible. And I think while that movie is inspirational, maybe entertaining, maybe it impacted me a little too much, it does speak to this great fear that a lot of people have. So that would be my first thing, is prioritize. You choose passion or profit, which one's higher? My guess is passion's going to be higher. You want to do this passion no matter how much money you make. And what we want to do is elevate the profit so that you have a prosperous life too. But there's always the temptation that you'll move to profit and forget about the passion. I don't want that for you. I want you to prioritize, know that it's possible to keep one ahead of the other. Okay, so it's the first P, prioritize. The second P is perspective. So that pervasive myth that if you follow your passion with profit, that you'll get lost in profit. There's also the other flip side, the pervasive myth that passion inevitably leads to financial struggle, the starving artist syndrome. However, like I was saying, there's many successful entrepreneurs and creatives who have proven that you can align your passion and your profit together in the same venture. So take a close look at your interests, your skills. There might be a way to turn what you love into a viable business, but also you don't have to turn every single passion into a viable business. I love reading books that are fiction still. It's tangent to my love for writing, but it doesn't help me make money, and I still love it, right? You have those hobbies, those things that you're passionate about, books, just in general, but you don't make money off of all of them. So keep that kind of perspective there. And so what you might find is some kind of hybrid approach, where you find a way to incorporate elements of your passion into your current career, maybe even, or creating a business that complements your interests. This way you can apply financial stability while still nurturing your entrepreneurial spirit. I know plenty of people that they clock into their 9 to 5, and then they go do their passions after work. That's okay to do too. But if you did want to bring some of those passions into work, maybe have a conversation with your manager, or a conversation with your business partner or your spouse if you're working together, and ask, like, I love this thing that I do evenings and weekends. How do I bring that into what I do here? How could I, let's say someone is an actor, maybe they get to do a voiceover for a new podcast or, episode coming up. Tip, we're doing that soon. Be on the lookout. So why it's top of mind, right? There can be some fun things there. So have some perspective of like what it means to do your passion, and not get so stuck in this is the only way to do it, and it is to be starving as well. Okay. So we got prioritize, perspective, and then plan. I'm a planner. I love planning. You're going to probably plan some strategic risks that might involve starting a business while maintaining your full-time job, or gradually transitioning into more of your passion project. Maybe you invest in some real estate to build some passive income. So then you've got more time. You can go to part-time in whatever career you're in, and you got more time to put toward your passion. You're going to want to think about, plan what you're going to do, and approach it in a way that you can test the waters without jeopardizing your financial stability entirely. Now, for us, what this looked like is when we were starting our first business, it was also like the Great Recession. So different time, hopefully, for when you're watching this. Don't wish that on anybody. And I was able to still, do some other work. I actually worked as a barista at another coffee shop. I did some babysitting. Brandon still stayed in his full-time job while we prepared to open the shop. And even when we opened, he stayed part-time for a little while to make sure this was going to work, until he then, for mental health reasons, he went full-time in the business. Maybe if he would have stayed, we'd have figured something out, been more creative there, maybe we would have had more financial stability. If you know our story, we had some pretty rocky first couple of years there. So have the plan, test the plan with, with experiments, talk it through, figure it out, but also still move forward. Don't get stuck in planning and become a entrepreneur. You never do anything. But if you're going to take some risks, make them strategic, make them planned out. Okay. So that's number 3, plan. Number 4 is people. No one ever does anything alone. As much as we have this, entrepreneur, mentality, and we think like that guy, typically guy, or that gal, is the one who did everything. No, they had people around them. They did things together. One of the things that it's probably going to be helpful if you're trying to pursue passion and profit is understanding your cash flow, managing your debt, making informed decisions that can provide security that you need to pursue your passions. Consider having financial professionals in your corner, financial allies, mentors, people who can guide you to build a strong financial foundation. And then also people on your team that will encourage you to go after your passions and not always remind you about the money. And maybe somebody who's a financial ally who understands what it's like to combine both passion and profit together, like us. We'd love to talk to you about that more. So people, have the right people in place. And then finally, number 5, this is hard. What a lot of people have a hard time with is remembering their power. That's my 5th P, power. Remember, you're in control. You have the power to craft how you get to your destiny, what your destiny looks like. And that comes down to how you control both your time and your money. If you're combining a full-time job, a personal life, entrepreneurial pursuits, that's going to require effective time management and money management. You have to create a realistic schedule that allows you to allocate time to both your passion and, your financial stability, right? You can't just write all day. You got to think of how am I going to sell the book, or, whatever it might be. It's essential to be disciplined here and focused. And if you've made that plan, right, remember when you get into it that you have the power to execute that plan and stick to it. Even if you screw up one day, right, and you get in the zone on one thing or another, and you don't get to the, all the right mix of things that you wanted to do, try it again the next day. And also keep looking for productivity hacks and ways to keep improving your schedule, those kind of things. But don't forget, just like you have control over how you use your time, what your focus is like, those kind of things, you do have that control over your money too. And it's actually not too difficult to figure out how to gain more of that control. A lot of my big critique of the financial industry is they make things way too complicated and confusing. It's partly to make money. And I love to simplify and make things easy. It's part of why we wrote 5 Smooth Stones, is because it doesn't have to be difficult. Ask yourself, like, what if money were easy? And I think that's one of the most important things you can do to build your power over your money. And then what if, managing my time were easy? So you can apply that same question there. Now, for people that know me, or for people that are like me, you've been waiting for me to talk about another big P. Sure, there's passion, self-fulfillment, creative pursuits, that kind of thing. Sure, there's profit. You got to make money. You got to put food on the table. But what about the third P, purpose? How does that fit in here? And this is, for me, purpose and passion are very close to each other. I actually think part of why I'm passionate about something is because it's part of my purpose, part of my destiny, part of my calling, my contribution to the world. So you can think of, as I'm talking about passion, you could put purpose with that as well. But also, it's a really good reminder to keep it separate, in that what we do, what we pursue, passion-wise and profit-wise, does impact the world. The people who live here, the planet, right? What we do matters. And I think all the things that I've talked about, you can combine with purpose too. And let's recap here. You can have prioritization, making sure you're not putting purpose above both passion and profit, because that gets you into a really ugly place that I've been at before, where I realized I can't solve poverty, extreme poverty in the world, from the edge of poverty myself. And I needed to work from the overflow. I needed to make sure I was taking care of myself, and then give from my abundance rather than from my lack. Perspective, right? I can also, the nonprofit sector, right, is often thought of as you don't get paid as much there, all those kind of things. But having a purpose, there's tons of businesses, tons of creative pursuits, like Maya Angelou again, who made a serious impact in the purpose and the difference that they wanted to make in the world. You can look for those kind of historical perspective, and remembering that just because you want to make a difference in the world doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your passion or your profit. Plan, right? You got to plan even more if you want the triple bottom line rather than just 2 of them or 1. People, you're for sure going to need people and financial allies in your corner to think about impact and your purpose, and how you put your money toward your purpose. And of course, other people to do impactful work with, whether it's the charities you give to, or where you donate your time or volunteer to, the people that maybe you go and do work together toward a difference you want to see together. And of course, you got to remember your power. And this is probably the most important, maybe, for if you want a life of purpose and you want to make a difference. You got to believe you can make a difference, right? You got to believe that you can be the change you wish to see in the world, and that change will happen. You got to have that hope and that dream that it can happen. So there you go. That's my 5 Ps of combining passion and profit with a little application to purpose as well. If you're really loving this episode, you want more like this, where we're doing inspirational things that also have some practical how-to to them as well. We do a lot of this in the Wealth Wisdom financial community. In fact, this whole month, our theme is passion. And if you one of the things that I've been researching passion, a lot of people are talking about emotions when they talk about passion and feelings. And we're going to talk in the community this month about how if you have all these logical things that you maybe should do or want to do with your money, but you also have these emotional things, these more gratifying things you want to do. How do you mix those together? How do you, just like we talked about passion and profit, how do you take logic and emotions and bring them to your money and see that happen? So if you're liking this kind of way of seeing things, this more entrepreneurial, triple bottom line, we're going to apply that, or we apply that all the time in the Wealth Wisdom financial community. We'll put a link in the show notes where you can join and become part of those conversations, give your feedback, ask your questions. It's a interactive community, and we would love to see you in there. If you're listening on the podcast or something, you can go to www.wealthwisdomfp.com/community. You'll find all the information there and the links to join. Thank you so much for joining me today and helping me give my gift to the world in writing and thinking creatively about how we can solve some of these existential questions of the day. I hope that you live long and profit. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice or any kind of mental health or advice or anything like that. Please consult a professional, a therapist, anything like that knows your specific situation. Take care.